So we are here for AZ 104, okay, which is Microsoft Azure Administrator course.
Yeah.
Now, first things first, I just want to tell you how these Microsoft examinations go exactly. So first is there are three levels of examinations in Microsoft. First one is beginner level. Then we have got something which you call as associate level, or you can call it as intermediate level.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have expert level exams. So to give you just an example, a glance of it, beginner is basically any exam that is starting with 900, like AC 900, AI 900. You might have
Oh,
seen SC 900. All these are fundamentals exam for the beginners who are completely new to this Microsoft Azure.
yeah.
Then comes associate level, like you have AZ 104, you have got AZ 500, you have AZ 700. All these are associate level exams, or which you can call it as intermediate level exam.
Yeah.
And then lastly, expert level exam, the best example is AZ 305, when you want to become an Azure architecture expert. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah,
And this is
these.
this is the expectation in 2 years.
Okay, okay, and then absolutely. If you complete AZ 104, let's say, within 6 months, I guess you can even, go for AZ 305 just after that,
Yeah.
because huh, AZ 104 basically builds the foundation, like, how to administer resources, what are virtual machines, networking, what is app services, containers, shared responsibility model. And then once you're done with that, you can hop on to designing, which is AZ 305. So absolutely, you are doing great. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
And even if you want to focus on the security part, let's say, coming from a Java developer, let's say you're transitioning your role to a cloud consultant. So you are starting with AZ 104. You may, crack AZ 305 after that. Even for security, you can get, so this is basically Azure security engineer. So you can do this as well. If you are interested in networking, then you can have this one, which is network engineer, AZ 700. So yes, it all depends upon you. What kind of interests do you have? Based on that, you can
I have
choose it.
interest on the networking.
Okay, then absolutely, AZ 700 is a golden course for you. You
Okay.
can go with that. Yeah.
Okay.
AZ 700. Then there is, if you are interested in DevOps, let's say, then you have
Yes.
got AZ 400. If
Yeah.
you want to work with the developer side, like Azure Developer Associate, then you have AZ 204 for that. So yes, you have a lot of ways, but AZ 104 is the one which builds the foundation. Why? Because it's all about being an administrator. If we don't know how to host a virtual machine, how would we able to host an application on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how these courses actually go. Okay. Now, what to expect from AZ 104? Before I move into that, do you have any prior knowledge on this technology on Microsoft Azure? Anything that you know?
Very high level.
Okay. Like, can you give me a glance? Like, what is it according to you?
Uh, the basic things that we move our load to
Hmm.
the cloud, which is huge computers, and then we can
Hmm.
reduce the cost. We
Huh.
can scale up, we can scale down.
Okay.
Uh,
Perfect.
yeah, either we can manage it ourselves or
Yeah.
the environment will manage it for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, do you know what's Active Directory?
Yes, I know what's AD, Active Directory. I know what's
Okay,
that. Yeah, that is
that's
on-prem.
perfect.
Yeah, I
So,
know
ever
what's
heard
that.
about Enter ID?
I know about Inter ID. I read about it, but I get confused actually.
Okay, okay, no worries. I'll remove all the confusion.
Yeah,
Okay, so see, AZ 104, which is Azure, Microsoft Azure Administrator, this exam to a learner is all about framing it as the backbone of the cloud proficiency. It's less about memorizing buttons and more about understanding how to build and govern a digital ecosystem.
yeah,
Okay, think of an Azure administrator as the architect and the landlord of a digital building. You aren't just using the applications, you are making sure the lights stay on, the doors are locked, the elevators work, and the rent is paid efficiently.
yeah.
Right? So there are five pillars to this course. Basically, there are five modules that we are going to discuss in detail. See, this is about the course. I've already told you. For the prerequisites, you just need to have foundational knowledge of what is operating systems, what's networking,
Yeah,
what are storages, cloud infra, virtualization, the basics, right?
yeah.
And this role, I've already explained it to you, what you will, what you can expect from this course. Now, talking about the big picture stuff. So there are total 11 modules in this course. First one is, this is our first day. So first we'll talk about identities. Identity, basically in this, we are going to talk about Entra ID and what is ADDS, which is on-prem. What are the differences between both of these? Why do
Yeah.
we shift from ADDS to Entra ID? What's the reason? What's the benefit? Then, okay, this is basically following on lunch, but this is a customized batch. So I guess, we'll be connecting for 2 or 3 hours. Let's see. We'll see our pace. According to that, we'll move ahead.
Yeah.
The second module is all about governance and compliance. What is governance? We'll discuss about it in detail. How to achieve governance. So here we are going to discuss two things: Azure policy and RBAC, role-based access control, right?
Yeah.
Then comes automation. How can we manage Azure resources? Do we have only portal, only Azure portal, or are there any other options like as you are a developer? So you must have heard about CLI, command line interface. So we do have the support of command line interface on Azure as well to monitor and administer Azure resources. We can use CLI. We can use your, what do you call, templates. As you are coming from Java, you must have heard about JSON language,
Yeah.
right? So we'll be working with templates as well. JSON templates. Azure supports three type of templates: JSON and your Bicep and Terraform. Okay, we are going to focus on the Bicep and the JSON one. Okay,
Okay.
perfect. That, with that we are done with three modules. Then comes networking. We'll start talking about networking. What are VNets? What is subnet? Then what are NSGs? What is ASG? All these important concepts, right?
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about if we have, let's say, one site in on-premise and another one in Azure. So let's say, we are present in on-premise as well and Azure. So how can we connect both of these sites? So we are going to talk about inter-site connectivity. So here we'll talk about site-to-site connections and something called as peering.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about service endpoints, private endpoints, all that. Then comes the important one, which is load balancing. Do you know? Have you ever heard about this load
Yeah.
balancers?
Yeah. I do.
Right?
I do. I
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Perfect. So we are going to discuss each type of load balancer in Azure in detail. We have Azure Traffic Manager, Front Door, we have Azure Load Balancer, and we have Application Gateway. So we'll
Yeah.
discuss about all. And then we finish networking, and then we'll move on to the storage part. Okay. So storage is basically how do we host, what types of data do we have? We'll discuss about that: structured, unstructured, then semi-structured. And based on that, what resources does Azure offers to host this kind of data? So we are going to discuss one service in detail, which is storage account. Okay.
Yeah.
Then comes the eighth module. From here, we start talking about compute. So compute means first we'll discuss the shared responsibility model. Have you heard these terms? IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS?
Yes. Yes. I do. I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I do.
I guess you are already, way ahead of this course. According to your knowledge that I'm, like understanding here, you already have knowledge about all these terms. So I don't think this course is going to
But
be a lot of.
I'm confused from where I start. When I get in the job,
Understand,
how my day will be look like day to day. Where I
absolutely.
go, from where, for example, if I want to check the environment, usually I look at the logs files. Where is the log files here? See what I
Yes.
mean? What is the trace?
Yes.
If any
Huh.
customer or anyone
Huh.
tell me that I cannot connect to this
Yes.
application, where I go?
Absolutely. But let me tell you, you have chosen the perfect course for the foundation, because that's what I said. If you want to pursue any particular field, if you are building a roadmap, let's say.
Yeah,
So AZ-104 is the foundation. If you want to become a network engineer, if you want to become a security engineer, maybe an Azure architect, everything, Azure 104, like Azure Administrator is the foundation of all these. So
yeah.
I think you are doing good.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
So from eighth module, we'll start talking about shared responsibility model. How do we come to this IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS? I'll use a very great example for this. I'll use that in the coming module. Then we'll talk about what are virtual machines, how to plan for a VM, the sizing, everything. And then there is something called as app services. Okay. App services is basically a PaaS offering. And Azure Virtual Machine is an IaaS offering. PaaS means platform as a service, where we don't want to worry about the underlying infrastructure. So let's say, your name is Suhaib. Okay.
Yeah,
Suhaib comes to me. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's not
yeah,
Suhaib.
yeah. That's good. Perfect.
Suhaib, right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's say Suhaib comes to me and he says that I want to build an application, I want to host an application, but I don't want to worry about the patching, the management of the operating system. I want to get rid of that. Do you have anything for me? I would say I have app services, which is platform as a service. So
Yeah.
that's there. Then we have containers. This is a part of ninth module only. So it is discussed. That's why I've written as
This
9
is
here.
very important because
Yes,
of the DevOps guys and
absolutely.
automation the stuff. Yeah,
Have you, do you have any knowledge about containers? Like what are containers exactly?
yeah.
I'm not
I'm
like
familiar
asking just
with Docker container, with the Docker container.
yes,
Uh,
Docker container.
yeah, little
Okay.
bit of Kubernetes, but nothing in detail. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll start from the very scratch. I'll tell you how did we come to containers? Why do we have containers? If we have app services, we have VMs, Windows servers, what was the need of containers? So we'll
Exactly.
talk about that as well. Okay.
Uh,
And then we have the last two modules, which is data protection. This is all about BCDR. Hope you know what BCDR is.
no.
It's business continuity and disaster recovery. Like
Okay.
how do we stay operational in a business in a case of failure, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Okay.
then we'll finally move on to monitoring. Like after hosting all these resources, how can we monitor our environment, our Azure environment
Exactly.
completely?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So we have a tool, a very good tool, which is Azure Monitor. And we also have another one for network. We have Network Watcher. So both
Yeah.
of these tools are for troubleshooting purposes. So we'll see these tools in the last. Okay. So that's how our course curriculum or syllabus, whatever you want to call it, is going to look like. Okay.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
A
now,
question. The same
uh,
question now. So if you go back here, what I like to do in order for me to get the best of your knowledge,
uh,
can I, for example, can I prepare for the class? So if you tell me that tomorrow we will be discussing,
uh,
then
absolutely,
yeah, for
absolutely, absolutely,
I will read, and then I will come so
absolutely.
we can get the best of your
Yes,
time and the knowledge. Yeah.
that's great. That's great, actually. With that, we might complete this course, before the time. That's
Okay.
also possible.
And this
Yeah.
is the objective. I don't mind to
Uh-huh.
finish it in 1 week or 10 days. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's great, I guess. Then if we are, because see, this course duration, these courses are aimed at professionals. Now, Microsoft doesn't know, right, who is coming to, like learn
Exactly.
this. It
Yeah.
might be an expert level. It might be the person might be having 10 years of experience, 15 years, or maybe he might be a newbie. So it totally depends. Now, as I said, you already have great knowledge on these concepts. You are a Java developer. That's a huge thing, right? So I don't think you are going to face those much challenges. And I guess, and I think as well, that's a very great understanding that you've built with me just now. That like if we are able to complete this course before as well, it's completely fine with you.
Yeah,
So that's great.
of course. Because the
Absolutely.
objective here is to get the
Huh.
knowledge, not
Yes.
to stay a month.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So yes,
I
absolutely.
will need your help for 305 soon.
Huh.
Something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm here.
Yeah.
We
Thank you
can
so
do
much.
one thing. Just prepare for this course. Okay, once we are done with this course, okay, and then you can, once you are clear, once you have done the examination, let's say you clear it in one go, then we can start with AZ 305. No worries
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
also help you with case studies as well in AZ 305 because in AZ 305 we don't have any practicals. It's all about designing. So we have got
Oh,
Microsoft official case studies. Yeah, I'll help
yeah.
you with that. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. And about this course, honestly saying, if we connect, let's say every day for 2 hours, on every weekend for 2 hours, I don't think, judging on the basis of your knowledge, we are going to take more than 3 weeks. That's what I see, according to what we have
Yeah.
just discussed.
I can take every day 2 hours.
Absolutely. That's great then. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay. All right. So this is the MS Learn profile. I'll guide you on that, how to access this courseware and everything. See, one thing I want to be very clear with you, Suhaib, actually these presentations are, Microsoft copyrighted, as you can see here. So that's the
Yeah.
only reason I'm not authorized to share these presentations.
No,
Yeah.
anything. Rest
Mhm.
and take my word. Everything. Everything
Yeah,
you tell me, everything you show me, this is confidential for me only.
absolutely, absolutely.
Of
But
course.
as an alternative, I
Yeah.
have got a solution. I have got some website which is MS Learn, which is official, Microsoft Learn website from where they build these presentations. So
Sure.
there you will find even more information than what's being discussed in the presentations.
Yeah.
I'll give you all the courseware through that. Okay, so I'll provide you the link after this.
Yeah, very good.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have got five, what do you can call it? Like five pillars, I would say. Five pillars or five study areas from where you will expect questions in the exam. So here we are talking about the exam. So let's say it's 100% of questions. From one, which is managing Azure identities and governance, here you'll be talking about Entra ID, policies, and your what do you call Azure RBAC rules. You can expect 20 to 25% of questions.
Okay.
Then from the second module, which is implementing and managing storage, like storage accounts, you can expect 15 to 20% of your questions. Then from the third one, deploying and managing Azure compute resources like VM, app services, and all that, development stuff. Here you can expect 20 to 25% of your questions. And from virtual networks, again 15 to 20. And lastly, from monitoring and backup, 10 to 15%.
Okay.
So that's how your exam is going to look like. And with that, we are done with the introduction of the course.